Someone's handing all our master guidance up. You know, they don't have any kids. They grab the whole.
Sorry, Sheriff.
Sheriff, you may be excused. You may be excused.
Why is that carrot sitting there? Why is that carrot sitting there?
Good morning. Welcome to the County Board meeting. Would you please join me for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open forum. I haven't gotten any. Okay. Review and approve the minutes of April 14th and the amended minutes of March 24th.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the 14th and the amended minutes of the 24th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Lubke, second by Commissioner Barrows. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Review and approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I do have a couple of changes this morning. First, we would like to remove item 6.1, the resolution declaring a public health nuisance at 10042 Gilbert Trail. We'll remove that one. And then under additional business, I would like to add an amendment to the landfill construction project. If we could add that as 11.1.
Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, if there's no other changes, I would make the motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Coring. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Coring. Is there any discussion?
I have one thing on the outdoor warning sirens maintenance. It was just a question that's under 5.8. Do you want to?
No, just ask your question.
Okay. Clayton, you know, we did this, this is in regards to us doing an overall looking at all the sirens, no matter what jurisdiction they're in. And I brought it up, I'm bringing up in the fact I know that in the jurisdiction I serve, they're looking at another siren, okay? But it brought up a question to me. There is, in unorganized territory, which falls under the county board, there is no sirens. Is there any look, I don't know if we've talked about it as a county board yet, could you maybe get an idea of what that would take to put some sirens in that area, at least give a proposal to us? Because right now, it is our third largest population group in Crow Wing County, and there is no sirens in that whole area. So I was just going to bring that up and make a mention of it, and I thought here would be the place to do it.
Madam Chair, members of the board, again, thank you for the opportunity to, again, talk about our emergency outdoor warning sirens. The initiative, again, we started kind of back in April 29th when I came from the Committee of the Whole, and we kind of talked about that moving forward and reaching out to the townships and working out to the cities on what that would look like for a kind of a unified emergency warning, kind of a preventive maintenance schedule for those. And then back in on May 13, we also did on March 30th, I'm sorry, we did that kind of an overall, reached out to the townships and the cities and had a kind of a working group, and we had a good showing there, had about 20 members from the different stakeholders that came, and we talked about the emergency warning sirens that we had. And, going forward, as you mentioned, Commissioner, the, unorganized territory is a huge area, particularly it's one of our largest outdoor, essentially, when it comes to vacationing area and tourist outdoor venues for events. And then additional to our large population in there. So that is one of the areas that we're looking at potentially, again, providing the board with a proposal on what that would look like and the best locations for that as well, to make sure that not only are they, in those areas, but also the optimum location as well to hit the most amount of people that'll be able to hear those sirens. I know I had received one call from a resident as well on Gull Dam Road that had talked about sirens, about not hearing them, and the interest of having a siren in that area. So we are getting, again, calls, or I am fielding calls from the community as we, kind of push forward with this. And, I did a news conference with Lakeland News as well recently. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see that, talking about emergency warning sirens. So I have had several members of the community call in and, again, kind of show their support in as far as us moving forward. But as you mentioned, Commissioner, that unorganized territory, large populated area, large venue area, particularly during the summer months as far as tourism, and we want to make sure that those residents are, again, and those visitors are being covered should inclement weather come into our area. So I'll pushing forward, I'll again look at what those locations look like, costs associated with that as well, and bring that back in front of the board.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Clayton, when John Bowen was here, he did a study on that, so maybe you could find that and look at that before you put a lot of time into it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have a question. So Clayton, this would really wouldn't fall under the County Board of Commissioners. This would actually be the Township Board for Unorganized Territory, I would assume, and then those taxpayers would be having to fit the bill for that, correct?
Okay. And I'll be attending tomorrow's evening meeting as well with the, the
Township officers.
Association of Township Officers. So I'll be at that meeting tomorrow night as well.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nope, that's all I had. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Community Services.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I brought this property to you last year in 2025. We've received approval to utilize solid waste funds and working with the owner to abate multiple identified public health nuisances on the property. This property is located on the 13,000 block of County Road 25 in Brainerd. I have been working with this property owner throughout 2025 and now into 2026 to mitigate these ongoing concerns. We have provided 3 dumpsters in 2025, and the owner has been responsive to our request and guidance. They're continuing to show efforts in their progress towards completing this cleanup, and I'm asking the board to approve renewal of the 2025 resolution to utilize solid waste funds into 2026 in order to abate the remaining public health nuisances. The expenses are to be assessed to their taxes, their property taxes.
Any questions? Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I would move the request for board action on the property at 13734 County Road 25.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Barrows. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Land Services.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have 5 items for your consideration this morning. The first request is for the preliminary plat of Clearwater Point, second edition for parcel number 5007-0563, located in section 7 of Bay Lake Township. The request is to approve a conventional design preliminary plat consisting of 4 lots. If we can go to the map on page 106, we'll get an idea of where the property is located. So this is, we have Clearwater Lake here. This is Clearwater Point Road. Then over here, it comes off of Nokia Lake Road off to the west. If we can go to page 108. This is the plat that's being requested. So here you have Clearwater Point Road coming through, and then you have 4 lots. You have 2 to the north, and you have these 2 to the south. When you look at the map, it's a little interesting because this OHW, or the ordinary high water mark that defines where the lake is located, comes into here, but it looks very wetlandish or very swampy. The actual water line is actually out into this area out here. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on April 16th of 2026 and made a recommendation to the board to approve the preliminary plat of Clearwater Point Second Edition. And the board also developed the finding of facts that are found on page 214 and 215 for your consideration as well. This application had a few wrinkles in it as we went through the process. So we originally had the application slated for the meeting in January. And that included a request to allow a 33-foot road to service the north 2 parcels. So originally the plan was for this, the request was for this to be a 33-foot where the ordinance requires 66. And upon hearing feedback from the township and some community members, the applicant decided to table the request because it didn't sound like there was a lot of support for that request. And so they updated the information and came back with a 66-foot now, so there was no variance needed for that. The original plan for the plat was to access lot 2 right here off an existing driveway, and then for lot 1 to come around and use an existing driveway here. And so when the applicant made the application to come to the March meeting, there was conversation with the neighbor who owns this property. There's a small parcel here that the driveway would cross that would require an easement, and they have not been able to obtain that easement across that east side of the property. So what they requested was a variance to reconstruct the driveway to avoid driving over that neighboring property. If we can scroll down to page 109, there's the next one down. We can keep right there. So this would be where Clearwater Point comes around, and then this would be that existing driveway. And right in here, this little sliver, that is the actual amount where the easement would be needed to be agreed upon to be able to cross over that to access this lot. And what they proposed to do was to move the driveway in this more of a hairpin type turn, and that would have required a variance for Duke-Merving because this is a bluff. If you see out here, this is a very steep slope and actually meets the definition of a bluff. And so they needed a variance to do that. And then there was another iteration of that was provided that the township hadn't had a chance to review. And so at the March meeting, the Planning Commission decided to table that and to come back to the April so that the township had a chance to review that because Bay Lake Township is the road authority for Clearwater Point Road. And so when it came back to the meeting in April, the Planning Commission ultimately denied that variance request, stating that the applicant could access lot 1 via an access through lot number 2. The township, they had concerns over the driveway being relocated into the bluff impact zone, the amount of dirt moving required, and the potential instability that would have. So the Bay Lake Township, who is a local road authority, did recommend denial of the variance. And so we did have some different comments from the township. The township did provide initial comment from the January meeting stating disapproval of the request. And I think it was really based on that 33 versus 66-foot easement. And then when we had the dirt moving request for the March and April, they did recommend denial of both of those variances as well. We did receive a comment from the SWCD. We did receive 3 comments from the public. And so I think there's also, we also received information from Steve Lindeman, who is the owner of this parcel here, with his concerns over having access to lot 1. And at the Planning Commission meeting, it was discussed that there is access through lot 2 to the west to gain access to lot 1 using the existing driveway. And it would be the recommendation of staff that based on the application submitted, the staff packet, public comments, and the finding of fact, to recommend approval of the plat of Clearwater Point Second Edition, and with the condition that they have to record that easement across Lot 2 to access Lot 1 prior to recording the plat. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if it's okay, I'd also like to point out that Tyler Progribly is here with Widseth. He was the authorized agent for the applicant as well. He's in the audience tonight, or this morning.
Right. The person that's online will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I think you're referring to me, Madam Chair, and members of the board. My name is Steve Lindeman. For over 40 years, my family has owned the property at 23011 Clearwater Point Road, which is next door to the Cobble Crest property. Yesterday, I submitted a letter for your consideration. In short, my family opposes this subdivision as proposed because it does not satisfy the requirement of the county ordinance that each lot must have adequate legal access. Cobble Crest is relentlessly pushing for a rapid approval of what we believe is an ill-advised plan. It was born in secrecy, has been riddled with flaws that would harm the community, and has repeatedly morphed when those flaws were exposed. The seeds of those flaws remain embedded in the proposed plat that is before you today. And those seeds will surely bear bad fruit in the months to come because the issue of adequate legal access to the development has not been resolved. I'd like to explain that by drawing your attention to 2 documents that are part of the record. The first is at page 108, which we looked at moments ago. And if that could be pulled up, I can illustrate the point I'm making.
Pull that up.
This drawing shows a hook-shaped driveway that was rejected when the Planning Commission denied Cobble Crest request for a variance to excavate the sensitive bluff impact zone. As things now stand, there is no other proposed plat drawing that shows access to Block 1, Lot 1 after creation of the subdivision. As a result, there's nothing before you that we believe should be approved. Now, if you can pull up another document, this is at page 155 of the materials, please. This is essentially the same drawing, but it has been highlighted in orange where the existing driveway is. And I apologize, my highlighting is a little shaky there, but I think you can see the entrance to Block 1, Lot 2 is on the west where the driveway exists, existing driveway intersects Clearwater Point Road. That driveway continues all the way across to the east, where it then trespasses across our property to meet up with Clearwater Point Road on the other side. As pointed out, if there were an easement for Lot 1 to cross Lot 2, there would be adequate access to Lot 1, but they do not want to have the driveway go across Lot 2 to reach Lot 1, and so there is no easement currently. Now, if the board denies the application today, Cobble Crest will have to go back to the drawing board and ideally talk to their neighbors about what makes sense for the Clearwater Lake community. That's what they should have done in the first place, and that's what they should do now.
Your 3 minutes are up.
I just want to finish with 30 more seconds, if you will indulge me, please.
Okay.
Before anything is approved, the applicant should be required to show exactly what they plan to do with the property, including how they will provide adequate legal access to each lot. So today we ask that you deny preliminary plat approval because there is no legal access to Lot 1. And as an alternative, as Mr. Pence pointed out, if you choose to approve the preliminary plat, we ask that you impose an unambiguous and mandatory conditions stating that final plat approval will not be given unless clear and adequate legal access to all of the lots is incorporated into the final plat drawing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak? And you can also have 3.5 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Tyler Pagriba. I'm the land surveyor that is platting this property. Here to represent the clients. Just to respond to a few of those items, I don't think that this plat is riddled with errors. Myself and land services, along with the clients, there was a bit of confusion at first with the requirements on what we needed to show for easements, particularly with that the north two parcels. We were very happy to change that to 66 feet, so that satisfied those concerns. The bluff variance with that driveway was denied, and the clients were okay with that. We have proposed a ingress-egress easement across Lot 2 to service Lot 1. Myself, I've done this many times. I've been in contact with land services and the county surveyor. We typically will draft those easements, have them recorded, and then they'll be shown right on the final plat prior to recording. And those updates have been made right here. I can certainly show you them. And then as far as the lot sizes, they're 4 times the minimum lot size. There's plenty of land area here. Impervious numbers are all okay. So the main concern was the access to Lot 1, which has been addressed, and we show an ingress-egress easement, and we're proposing to record that prior to recording of the final plat. I know that a lot of words have been said, and this is kind of confusing, but the clients and myself have been very willing to adapt this plat, and that's why there's been a few iterations of it to satisfy what the county will require as far as minimums, and they're far exceeding those. Do you guys wish to view the prelim and final plat showing the easement?
I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
Chris? I can put it on the document.
Madam Chair, may I ask a quick question? Chris, did the Planning Commission see this, what we're looking at now? Has the Planning Commission seen what's being proposed right now?
They have not seen what you see today, but the discussion was the understanding that there would be an easement through Lot 2 to access Lot 1, so.
They were aware of the
Yep,
easement, but they
absolutely
haven't seen the specific drawing
Right, but
of
they
that.
knew it was exactly as it's been discussed. It's going to be using the existing approach coming off of Clearwater Point Road and the existing driveway to get over to Lot 1, so, yep. They understood that when they made that recommendation that there would be an easement needing to access Lot 1 through Lot 2. Yep, the Planning Commission was aware of that.
And they weighed in that they would approve it.
That was,
with
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, so it is a little confusing for me. So the easement across Lot 2, isn't Lot 2 owned by Mr. Lindeman? No? Can you point that out?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mr. Lindeman owns this.
Because they were first talking about going across his property, right?
Yeah, so Mr. Lindeman owns this parcel right here,
Yes.
this part of Government Lot 2, and that parcel comes up like this over at an angle, and it kind of terminates right in this area here.
Right.
So that's where they had to cross this northerly sliver of his property to gain access to this lot. So the Cobblecrest Properties owns Lot 1, Lot 2, 3, and 4. So they own all of this. Currently, they've been using this historically over the years to get access to this lot using this, but there was never an approved easement to go across the Lindeman property to get access to this part of the property. So
Okay.
what they're proposing to do is to grant an easement across Lot 2 to get over to Lot 1. So the access will be through Lot 2 to get over to Lot 1.
So they'll be going, Madam Chair, so they'll be going through, maybe that whoever's going to buy that lot will have an easement through there to get to the other lot.
Correct, and there'll be a recorded easement, so they would be aware of knowing that they're purchasing a property with an easement where folks will be driving through to get to that, to get over to Lot 1.
And just, Madam Chair, so, and Mr. Lindeman's argument, what would his argument be then? I don't see where the argument is.
His argument would be that the easement isn't there right now.
Oh.
So, and the ordinance talks about there having to be legal access for parcels recreated to a public road. And that's, he's just saying that the easement isn't there now and it should be, you could deny it on that basis. But the planning commission made the recommendation with the understanding that there's going to be easement through lot 2 to gain access to
This is
lot
the,
1.
and Madam Chair, this is the preliminary plat.
Correct. So they still have to
Then
come back to you for
the
a
final plat will come back to us.
Correct.
With that, and if that easement is not in there,
It won't come back until we have that part figured out.
okay, so then I don't know what the issue is.
Madam Chair, I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Has the township seen this yet then, or is this brand new?
What you see up here now is what the township has seen this. They haven't seen the specifics of what Tyler provided today. But they understood at the meeting that there would be an ease. They didn't have any concerns as long as they were using that same approach to gain access into lot 1. So they understood that there would be an easement through lot 2 to get to lot 1.
Okay. Does lot 1 or lot 2 currently have a house on it?
Both have structures on them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the township would then be, would approve of the driveway instead of a 66-foot easement? Go through that?
They wouldn't require a 66-foot easement to get, it'd be more of a driveway style easement to get through there, yeah.
Okay. And then one of the concerns that I saw was with regard to dirt removal, moving stuff around on the bluff.
Correct. Yep.
That would not be
And that-
necessary anymore?
That would have been in this area here to relocate that driveway. And that was denied by the planning commission, so there will be no dirt moving in that area to recreate the bluff, or there'll be no work in that bluff area to relocate the driveway. That was denied by the planning commission.
Yep.
So that decision is what forced the easement to come through here to gain access to lot 1.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm good, go ahead.
Madam Chair, so another question is okay, so right now, we're looking at the preliminary plat. Obviously, at the preliminary plat, we make recommendations on changes, land services makes recommendations, and that's what's happening right now. And then the final plat will come before the planning commission, it will not?
It comes directly to you. Planning commission doesn't review the final plat. Final plat's reviewed by the county board only.
And so what if the final plat, if let's just say we wanted hear what Bay Lake Township has to say, then when would they have the chance to weigh in on that?
We could definitely, if you approve the preliminary plat today, we could forward to them and with the information that Tyler provided today to get their feedback. But if that's something that you like, we could definitely have that in place prior to coming back with final plat.
Madam Chair, I just don't want to have somebody say, I didn't get a chance to weigh in on that. I mean,
I would argue that there's been a lot of opportunities to weigh in on this one, so there's been a lot of, everybody understands, I think, the input and the questions and concerns have been brought up, but I don't see any issue with forwarding this on to the township and asking them to take a look at this new plan that Tyler provided before he comes back for final plat.
Being that they are the road authority.
Absolutely, yep. That'd be very easy for us to take care of.
Any other questions? Nope. Can I have a motion?
I will make a motion to move forward with a preliminary plat, with it being approved by or being sent to the Bay Lake Township as well.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Madam Chair, could I just and to require the easement as part of the final
Yes, sorry, yes.
Correct, yep, just want to make sure
The
we
most
capture
important
that.
part, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The next request we have is for the preliminary plat of Rutgers First Hole Golf Cottages for parcel number 50030614, located in section 4 of Bay Lake Township. The request is to approve a Conservation Design's preliminary plat consisting of 12 lots, 11 for cabins and 1 for an outlot. If you go to the map on page 202, well, actually, that'll work right there. We can stay there. That'll work. This is located north of Rutgers Resort. This would be Tame Fish here, and you've got Highway 6 here. There was a plat that was done in a conditional use permit that I'll get into in a minute, but this is where they're proposing to replat this location. So the Plan Commission, just to give you some background, the Plan Commission approved a conditional use permit on July 15th of 2021 to allow an expansion to the resort. And the conditional use permit at that time allowed 14 lots. The county board approved the plat of Rutgers First Hole Cottages on August 24th of 2021. And this included 2 outlots. So it says when this says there's 14 total lots, there were 2 outlots for a total of 12 cabin lots and then 2 outlots. The request that you have today is a replat of what was approved in 2021 with a reduction of 1 cabin and a reduction of 1 outlot. So the Planning Commission, they held a public hearing on April 16th of 2026 and made a recommendation to the board to approve the preliminary plat of Rutgers First Hole Cottages. The Planning Commission developed the finding of fact that's found on page 214 and 215 of your packet as well. If we go to page 206, we can look at the plat quickly. So this is Tame Fish here, you've got State Highway 6, and the changes are up here. The previous lots were held over in here, there were 4 in here, and what they're wanting to do is readjust them over these 3 off more to the east and reduce one of the lots and then keep everything pretty much the same coming down, with this being the access going up. So based on the application submitted, staff packet, public comments, and the finding of fact is recommended to approve the preliminary plat of Rutgers First Hole Golf Cottages. Staff have reviewed the file and concur with the recommendation from the Planning Commission. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Madam Chair. So Chris, where it says block 1 and there's 3 below and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above, there's nothing there now? Those are
correct.
There's nothing there now. These are just
Yep, they're
cottages
proposed to build. Yep.
So then just a curiosity question. So would each lot or each little cabin have their own septic system? Where do they get their water from?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Corning, that's a great question. So
I know it
they
is.
are on a state permit, so they generate more than 10,000 gallons of water per day. So they're on a state pollution control agency permit, and so they have all the wastewater ran through the state of Minnesota, and we have confirmation from the state that everything they've got out there for capacity covers that. There also is, right in this area, right in there is a well house. So they've got a well there that provides all the water for that side of the resort and the golf course. So they have adequate wastewater and drinking water for the proposal.
Very good.
Other questions? Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Barrows. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next request is for the final plat of Rutgers First Hole Golf Cottages for parcel number 5003-0614, located in section 4 of Bay Lake Township. All requirements have been met for the final plat application, and we recommend approval as submitted.
Madam Chair, I would so move the adoption of the Rutgers First Hole Golf Cottages and second edition final plat.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Hearing none. We have a motion by Commissioner Barrows, second by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor? Or not?
Aye.
By
Aye.
Commissioner Coring.
Commissioner Coring, make that motion.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries. I had to change my notes. Okay.
All right. The next request is for the preliminary plat of Rutgers Lakeside Cottages, second edition for parcel number 5003-0598, also located in section 4 of Bay Lake Township. The request is to approve a conservation design preliminary plat consisting of 13 lots. The total size of the parcel before subdividing is about 11 acres. If we go to the map on page 285 of the packet, again, we'll see the location. So just as a reminder, this would be Tame Fish, you got State Highway 6, you just approved the plat on the north side here, and now we're, we're in this part of the resort now to look at that. So if we could go to page 287. So what you've got is these lots here is what's being proposed to be platted with this request. The Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit and a variance on February 15th of 2024 to allow an expansion to the resort. The expansion at that time allowed for 13 cabin lots. The plat today monuments those 13 cabin lots so that they each will have their own legal description. And that's what you see up here on this today. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on April 16th, 2026, and made a recommendation to the board to approve the preliminary plat of Rutgers Lakeside Cottages, second edition. The Planning Commission developed the finding of fact found on pages 295 and 296 for your consideration as well. And based on the application submitted, staff packet, public comments, and the finding of fact, it is recommended to approve the preliminary plat of Rutgers Lakeside Cottages, second edition. Staff have also reviewed the file and concur with the recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Madam Chair, just the same question as I had last time, just out of curiosity. So is that the same well, or is that a different well? Is that in the same treatment plant?
It's the same wastewater treatment plant. Yeah, all the water they've got lift stations, and they pump it up to the north. They've got a big drain field up in it for that. And there's a different well for that uses water on the south side compared to the north side. So they've got adequate water and wastewater treatment services at the resort for this.
Madam Chair, there's some existing structures on the east side of that. Are those in this,
up in here?
are there some separation from those, I take it? I can't remember exactly. I thought there was some buildings maybe or something.
So these, what you've got in this situation, these were replacements of some of the existing cabins that were there. And so when they went through that conditional use permit in 24, it was to get, and because there were some that were cabins that were removed, and there were some cabins that were allowed to stay, and then that was part of the conditional use and the variance, because they don't meet they don't all meet the 100-foot setback to Bay Lake as would be required. And so that's what the variance was for as part of that in 2024.
Okay. That's all I got.
Any other questions from anyone? Can I have a motion?
I will make the motion to approve the preliminary plat for Rutgers Lakeside Cottages, second edition.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, the final request is for the final plat of Rutgers Lakeside Cottages, second edition for parcel number 500300598, located in section 4 of Bay Lake Township. All requirements have been met for the final plat application and recommend approval as submitted.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Madam Chair, members, commissioners. Good to be here. A lot of stuff going on. It's start of summer, and we're gearing up for all the action that we're expected to have here in the Brainerd Lakes area. So we're excited about that. We have our boat and water that's up the full staff and getting ready to start here in the next couple weeks. Attended a couple of events. One of them was the Lakes Area Heroes banquet that they had for us at the NP Center. It was, hopefully you guys can go next year. It was a great time. They had 427 folks that showed up at that and honored our first responders here in Crow Wing County, even Morrison and Cass County as well. So we're very blessed to have an organization like that takes care of our first responders when they're in need. So it was a lot of fun. They gave away a ton of guns, very expensive guns, and there were a lot of prizes for folks to win. So you guys would have had a good time there if you would have showed up. The food was awesome. They did a great job. The other event I attended was last night. I attended the Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge Banquet, or Gala, and it was just another place that we have here in Crow Wing County that does an outstanding job with our folks that are struggling or that have control addiction issues or some type of thing that it controls them. And it was a really good event, fundraiser for them, but also a blessing to hear some of the stories that have taken place, or the transformations that have taken place in people's lives. So pretty special there. Also, will be attending the annual township meeting. I'm sure I'll see some of you guys there tomorrow. We have one FTO that just got off of FTO, field training, and so he's working by himself now back on the road. We have 2 folks that are still in training, hoping to get them on the road here in the next month. Let's see, what else we got? Got one interview coming up for one more deputy, and hopefully we've been receiving some really good candidates, so we're excited about that. I think the area gives us an opportunity to draw good people here, because everybody wants to come to Brainerd and make their forever home. The question is whether or not they can afford it. The other, let's see, and then I was just gonna say that I've noticed as I've been looking through the calls and stuff, there's been quite a few suicides as well that have been happening in our area, and I would again push out the number, the 988. If anybody is struggling or needs mental health assistance, please don't hesitate to call us. We have an embedded social worker in our office as well, and we use her quite heavily when people are in crisis. So I just wanted to give a plug again for 988. With that, I'd take any questions if you have any, or any concerns, complaints, compliments. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
The attorney.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I don't have anything for you this morning, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Thank you. County Administrator.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, just an update today from our senior management team yesterday. We talked a little bit about our analytics, reviewed our recruitment analytics that we have been looking at after our contract with Hubbard Broadcasting. If you recall, we have a microsite, a micro website devoted to recruitment, and if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, you will find a lot of great information about our organization as a whole, which I think is probably helping what the sheriff was talking about in recruiting some of those great candidates to some of our open positions. We're also now looking at the radio ads and the input that has, the impact once those are broadcast. When we hear those radio ads in the community, it does drive a little bit of a spike in the folks who are visiting that microsite, so we know it's having some impact that way. And now we're adding some social media components to that effort as well, really trying our best to reach the folks who really want to come and be part of this fantastic organization. We also had a discussion in preparation for an upcoming presentation next week that we will be making to one of the local high schools for their AP government class. This will be the second or third group that we've had the chance to be in front of. And when we talk about recruiting, not only are we looking for the folks who aren't currently part of our community, but we want to try to encourage those who are the best and the brightest of those folks who are already here to stay here and come and work here and make a great career here as well. We talked about the fact that our supervisors are working through the first period employee check-ins for performance management. I can't believe we're already past the first quarter of 2026 already. The time is just flying by here, but we are getting through those check-ins as well. And then finally, we talked a little bit about a revision process for our class and compensation review, as we've discussed previously with all of you as well. That's all I have for you today, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Additional business.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for your time today. On your agenda for additional business is an amendment to the 2026 Crow Wing County landfill construction contract. So at your last meeting on April 14th, you approved entering into a contract with Pratt's Affordable Excavation for about $4.4 million. This is a budgeted item for land services. We budgeted $5 million from our solid waste funds to complete the relining of our leachate ponds, final closure of the east slopes of cells 3 and 4, the addition of a raincoat, and then the construction of cell 6. As some background, our engineer's estimate for the project was about $4.6 million, and we received one bid from Pratt's Affordable Excavation for that $4.4 million. After the bids were approved by the board, the contractor did reach out and requested approximately $37,000 in an increase to their base bid because of the volatility of materials to complete the project and the price and the time between when the bids were opened and awarded by the board. Originally, the contractor had reached out for about a $60,000 increase, but we worked with the contractor to source some different materials, or the same materials but from a different vendor, and we're able to get that down to about $37,000. The contractor stated that the increases are coming from the cost of resin to produce some of the specialized materials that we need out for the landfill construction project, and specifically the liner and the geocomposites. Most likely seeing those because of the conflicts that are happening in the Middle East. I'll pause there for any questions that you may have. There.
Madam Chair, one quick observation this morning. It was noted that gas prices went up 6 cents in some areas of the country. So we're seeing the volatility of that supply line. Does Pratt understand that these costs are still going up? They're asking for this today, but today we already know the costs are going up. Are they going to be coming back for an additional amount of money?
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioner Barrows. So that's something we did. We're very clear with Pratt that this is a one and only type thing, and that he needs to have his bids secured through today. So if this gets approved today, he can move forward, purchase those, and he won't have any other additional increases. He'll have secured his materials for the project.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Also, you just mentioned the fuel costs going up 6 cents. He must have known that already going into the project, that his fuel cost, I mean, he's talking about the resin here in what our liner takes to put it in. He has also the fuel cost of all his vehicles hauling that dirt out of there, correct? He didn't ask for an increase in that.
Yep, Madam Chair, Commissioner Lipke, he did not ask for any additional increases outside of the cost for some of the specialized materials that are coming from this resin.
When we've done these in the past, have we had multiple bids? Because you said right now Pratt was the only one who actually bid on this project.
Yes, I'll defer to Gary. I would have to say that we have, but I wasn't here last time we did a construction project.
Yeah, we had 2 bids on our last set.
Okay, but we only had one bid for this whole project.
Correct.
So there's a difference between the pricing is really not an issue because we only have one bidder.
Yeah, and the good thing here is that he was, the bid from Pratt was under budget and underneath our engineer's estimate as well. And it still remains that even with the $37,000 increase that they're asking for.
Other questions? If not, can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I would move the request for board action.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Barrows. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we'll go into closed session.
Yes, Madam Chair, we would be looking for a motion to move into closed session pursuant to 13D05 for pending litigation for the Whitefish Chain LLC versus Crow Wing County.
Madam Chair, before we go into closed session, would it be I guess I'd like to hear from our great county engineer on how things are coming. I know that a lot of bids have been let and projects are moving forward. Just if there's any updates at all, Tim, at all, or?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, Commissioner Coring, thank you for the question. We're just getting started our very busy construction season. As I stated at the last board meeting, we are on track to deliver just short of 40 miles of resurfacing around the county. Wow. Number of bridges, and some reconstruction. One of our projects has started the reconstruction of Mapleton or 170. And the rain, we would have got a good start yesterday if it hadn't rained so much over the last couple of days. So we look forward to keeping that one going. And so we're just getting going. Everything has been bid for the most part. We do have a partnership with the city of Baxter. We're trying to deliver, or we will deliver, a County Road 48 pedestrian trail this year. We're working with them. We're expecting that to be bid later this year.
So, Madam Chair and Tim, so as Commissioner Barrow has pointed out, the price of fuel is going up. How did just kind of a majority of the contracts that came in, were they near the engineer's cost or estimate, or where are we at with that?
Off the top of my head, I don't know all the percentages. Sometimes they're above and below, but we take pride in being really close to the engineer's estimate. The thing that the contracts that we use, they incorporate a fuel escalation clause. This is something that MnDOT, it's a MnDOT specification and we use too, for instances like the reasons why fuel is going up and down.
Yeah.
And it's based on certain pieces of equipment. Is very specific, and that's how we would handle those particular things. So I can't explain that totally right now. I don't have the time, but there are provisions that allow for contractors to claim an increase in their bid price based on the cost of fuel and the impact on their operation and the construction project.
Okay, I'm good.
Else? Thanks, Tim. Okay.
I'll make a motion to move to closed session.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Barrows to go to closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.05 pending litigation.
Vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, I wish I would have just played that.
Move off my screen.
My party.
Okay.
Okay, motion, we need a motion to adjourn.
So move, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lubke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.